Stranger Things might be one hell of a dark supernatural thriller, but we can't deny there are pure comedy moments that make us laugh just as hard as the monsters make us scream. From Dustin's brutal rejections to Argyle's stoner logic saving the world. Let's get right into it. Let's start with Season 1, Episode 1, when Dustin had one of the most hilariously brutal rejections in the entire series. And it all comes down to pizza. So Dustin's got this slice and he's trying to be the nice guy sharing it around. And Mike says no thanks, Will says no thanks, and Dustin's like, all right, cool, no worries. And then he spots Nancy in her room and decides to offer her some, and here's where it gets good. Because Dustin walks up to her all innocent and friendly with that goofy smile and his front absent teeth on full display, asking if she wants pizza, and his facial expression combined with those missing teeth just made the whole moment even funnier because he looked so genuinely hopeful and sweet. And Nancy just looks at him for maybe half a second, doesn't say a single word, and slams the door right in his face like he doesn't even exist, and the rejection was so fast and so cold that you almost can't believe it happened. But it did, and Dustin's just standing there, probably wondering what he did wrong, when the answer is absolutely nothing. Nancy was just busy and had zero time for a kid offering her pizza. The whole thing is crazy because Dustin wasn't trying to be smooth or flirt, he literally just wanted to share food like a good person. Next up is when the boys first meet Eleven in Mike's basement. And this scene is pure chaotic middle school energy because Mike, Dustin, and Lucas are just bombarding this girl with questions, and she has no idea what's happening. They're all talking over each other, asking her name, where she came from, what's going on, and Eleven is just standing there completely silent and confused because she barely knows how to communicate. And then Dustin, in his infinite wisdom, asks if she's deaf, which is already funny because clearly that's not the problem. But it shows how clueless these kids are about the situation. But here's where it goes from funny to absolutely hilarious. Eleven is so overwhelmed and confused about what they want from her that she just starts pulling off her hospital gown right there in front of them, and the boys lose their minds immediately. The sheer panic and horror on their faces is comedy gold because these are innocent middle school kids who were not prepared for that at all, and they all start yelling and freaking out, trying to get her to stop, and you can see the instant regret of every question they just asked her because now they're dealing with a situation way above their maturity level. The whole moment is so awkward and uncomfortable for them, but hilarious for us because it's that classic innocent chaos where nobody knows what to do and everyone's just panicking and making it worse, and Eleven has no clue why they're reacting this way, which makes it even funnier. Because from her perspective, she's just trying to figure out what these weird boys want, and apparently that wasn't it, and that's why this scene is one of the funniest early moments in Season 1. Moving on is the opening of Season 3, Episode 1, and it was really fun how helpless Hopper was in the scene. Because this tough guy who fights monsters and Russian spies is completely losing his mind over Eleven and Mike kissing in the room. He's so fed up and jealous that he keeps bursting in trying to catch them and stop it like it's some kind of crime. And his exasperated dad energy is through the roof because he's treating teenage romance like it's the end of the world. The absolute best part is when he finally thinks he's won and successfully separated them. But then they immediately sneak a kiss right behind the door while he's standing there clueless, and the look on his face when he realizes he can't control the situation is priceless because Hopper can handle literally anything except two teenagers who want to be together, and watching this big tough guy be completely powerless against young love is what makes this scene so funny. Next is Season 3, Episode 1, and this one is so subtle but absolutely savage because Steve and Robin are trying to crack the Russian code at Scoops Ahoy and they need Wi-Fi, so Steve pulls up the available networks and there it is, the Wheeler family hotspot. And the name is I Hope You Enjoy Your Wife, Ted, and that's it, that's the whole joke. But it tells you everything you need to know about Karen and Ted's marriage in like 8 words. The fact that Karen made that her Wi-Fi name knowing Ted would see it is next level petty and hilarious because she's basically airing out their marital problems to the entire neighborhood through a hotspot. And the best part is, Steve just reads it out loud completely casual, like it's normal, and you realize, oh yeah, the Wheelers' drama is so well known that nobody's even surprised anymore. And that one tiny detail without any extra dialogue or explanation perfectly captures how done Karen is with Ted, and it's comedic gold. Next up is Season 3, Episode 2, and this might be one of the funniest Hopper moments in the entire show because he's trying so hard to be a good mature parent, and it just completely falls apart. So Hopper goes to Joyce to practice this calm, reasonable speech about boundaries that he wants to give Mike and Eleven. And when he's rehearsing with Joyce, he absolutely nails it. He sounds mature and collected and like an actual responsible adult who knows what he's doing, and you think, okay, maybe Hopper's got this parenting thing figured out. But then the moment comes when he has to actually deliver the speech to the kids, and he completely loses it. Like everything he practiced just flies out the window, and instead of being calm and reasonable, he tries not to yell or stammer, but fails. So instead he tells a lie, take Mike outside to his old car and says the exact opposite of what he rehearsed. And it's hilarious because you can see him trying to remember his lines, but his emotions just take over, and he turns into this angry, frustrated mess, and the contrast between the perfect rehearsal and the absolute disaster of the real thing is comedy gold because Hopper just cannot handle his feelings when it comes to parenting. Another one up is Season 3, Episode 3, and this is classic sibling warfare at its absolute finest because Lucas spots Erica and her friends at the mall and decides to be the annoying older brother by calling out, "Isn't it past your bedtime?" like he's so clever and mature. Now, most little sisters would maybe roll their eyes or come back with something mild, but Erica is not most little sisters, and she instantly fires back with, "Isn't it time you died?" And the escalation from bedtime joke to straight-up death wish is so savage and unexpected that you can't help but laugh. Lucas tries to rescue himself with continuous insults, but we're sure he probably regretting ever opening his mouth because Erica absolutely demolished him in front of everyone. And this moment perfectly captures their sibling dynamic where Lucas thinks he has the upper hand as the older brother, but Erica's wit is so sharp and ruthless that she wins every single time. And watching Lucas realize he just got destroyed by his little sister is what makes this insult war so funny because Erica doesn't play around and Lucas should have known better. Next is Season 3, Episode 4, and this is the moment that made Erica Sinclair an absolute legend because Dustin, Steve, and Robin need someone small enough to crawl through the air vents, and they're trying to convince Erica to help them with their mission. Dustin thinks he's being smart by appealing to her sense of patriotism and asks her if she loves her country, expecting some wholesome answer that'll get her on board. But Erica looks at him and delivers the most perfect self-serving line in the entire series. "You can't spell America without Erica." The confidence and the logic behind that statement is so flawless that you can't even argue with it, because technically she's right, and she just made the whole thing about herself in the most capitalist, iconic way possible. And this line instantly became legendary because it captures everything about Erica's character. In one sentence, she's smart, she's selfish in the best way, and she knows exactly what she's worth. And Dustin, Steve, and Robin just have to sit there and accept that they just got outplayed by a 10-year-old who turned patriotism into a personal flex. Moving on is Robin trying to make Steve cool again in Season 3, and it's painful to watch because Robin is mocking his entire approach to talking to girls and tells him to take off that embarrassing Scoops Ahoy hat if he wants any chance. Steve agrees and immediately walks up to the first group of girls he sees, takes off the hat with confidence and says, "Ahoy, ladies, like that's somehow going to work." And the look of pure disgust on those girls' faces is instant comedy because Steve genuinely thought that was a good opener, and Robin's joke about him crossing the board and being beyond hope just got proven right because this man has completely lost his touch, and watching him fail so spectacularly while thinking he nailed it is what makes this moment absolutely hilarious. Moving to Season 4, and we get this hilarious exchange between Steve and Dustin that shows their friendship is basically just constant roasting. Dustin needs Steve's help, but instead of asking nicely, he starts tearing into Steve's intelligence and social skills by telling him his attempts at talking to customers are not cold, like actually not cold. And Steve is standing there completely confused because what does that even mean? And you can see him trying to process this weird, nerdy insult that makes zero sense to a normal person. Steve's so frustrated and bewildered that he fires back with the most ridiculous threat ever. "I'm gonna punch you so hard your teeth are gonna fall back out," which is referencing Dustin's missing teeth. And it's such a specific, absurd comeback that, Steve just made it up on the spot because he had no idea how else to respond. The whole thing is funny because Dustin's insult is so dorky and confusing. Over to Season 4, Episode 6, and Murray decides the best way to get transportation is to pretend he's Yuri, so he launches into this absolutely ridiculous, over-the-top impression with the most exaggerated Russian accent, and he's being so loud and theatrical, thinking he's completely nailing it. The guards take one look at him and immediately say, "You're not Yuri. I've been told he has a screw loose, but you have many screws loose." And that line is so brutal because Murray genuinely thought this plan would work, but he came off as completely unhinged. And the fact that fake Yuri is somehow crazier than real Yuri is what makes this moment comedy gold. Lastly, we've got Season 4, Episode 9, and the stakes are absolutely insane because Eleven needs to go into the void and fight Vecna mentally. But she needs a massive amount of salt and a huge tub to make a sensory deprivation tank, and the Byers and Mike's group are stuck in the middle of the desert with no resources. Everyone's panicking trying to figure out where they're going to find all this stuff, and then Argyle just casually realizes the only place with a big enough tub and enough salt is his workplace, Surfer Boy Pizza. The entire scene is hilarious because the world is literally ending. Vecna is killing people and the fate of humanity depends on this moment. But Argyle is treating it like it's no big deal. Just another day at work, and his stoner logic and laid-back attitude make saving the world feel like a minor inconvenience instead of the apocalypse. The contrast between everyone else's panic and Argyle's chill vibe is comedy gold because he's solving this massive crisis with pizza restaurant supplies and acting like it's the most normal thing ever. And that's what makes this moment so funny, because only Argyle could turn a life or death situation into a casual workplace errand. Now, let's talk about Season 5, because while the world is literally ending in Hawkins, the comedy doesn't stop, and honestly, we needed these laughs more than ever. We have to talk about the absolute dysfunction of the Wheeler household in Episode 1. Because even in an apocalypse, Ted Wheeler is still the most useless and hilariously oblivious dad on the planet. The scene opens with a chaotic breakfast where everyone is rushing around, and Ted is just sitting there asking Holly to pass the bacon while she's completely ignoring him to read her book. He has to ask multiple times, and this grown man still not getting a piece of bacon perfectly sums up his character. But the funniest Ted moment has to be when we see him night golfing by in the backyard while his family is fighting for their lives. He's out there muttering "dadgummit" when he slices the ball, completely unaware that a literal Demogorgon is about to invade his house. It's dark humor, but it's so absurdly funny that he's prioritizing his golf swing during the end of days. Speaking of oblivious, we get a great moment with Steve and Dustin in Episode 1 involving the radio equipment. Steve grabs a walkie-talkie and tells Dustin the signal went wonky, and when Dustin tells him to read the manual, Steve complains that it might as well be in Greek. Dustin, in peak sassy form, just snaps back, "Learn Greek," and turns off his radio. It's such a quick, dismissive line that shows how little patience Dustin has for Steve's lack of tech skills. Then there's Murray Bauman. In Episode 1, he shows up disguised as a delivery driver with a beard and a hat that says Austin, and he presents the group with grenade salad, which is just grenades hidden in lettuce boxes. It's so Murray to give weapons a culinary code name. But his interaction with Dustin in Episode 3 is even better. Murray brings supplies to the farm, including water balloons and spark plugs, and Dustin is disappointed because he wanted car parts like a turbocharger. Murray just loses it and yells that it wasn't a goddamn Christmas list and tells Dustin to count your blessings and kiss my jolly ass. Murray screaming about his jolly ass while handing over explosives is the holiday spirit we didn't know we needed. Episode 2 gives us one of the funniest van arguments in the show's history. Steve, Jonathan, and Dustin are in the van, and the tension is high, but the dialogue is hilarious. Steve is trying to brag about how he got the van jump-started by charming a girl named Jessica, and Dustin just shuts him down by mocking him. Then, Dustin starts lecturing Steve about the power surge, saying, "Okay, for the future, when the lights go from really bright to really dim, it means the generator is surging, so you have to turn everything off." Steve, fully fed up, sarcastically thanks him and says he'll remember that next time. But Dustin won't let it go, and Steve explodes with, "My mother could prevent a power surge." The idea of Steve's mom being a generator expert is funny enough, but then Dustin fouls back, "Shockingly enough, I think your mother," and gets cut off before he can finish the insult. It's just three guys in a van screaming at each other while the world ends, and it feels so real and funny. We also get a great comedic duo in Robin and Will in Episode 2. Robin convinces Will to skip school to connect his brain into an interdimensional monster's radio signal, and she calls it playing hooky. The way she frames this terrifying psychic connection as a fun day off school is hilarious. Later in the hospital, Robin tries to distract a nurse by giving her cookies meant for Mrs. Massey, her fake grandmother. Will asks who Mrs. Massey is, and Robin admits she's just a random patient she uses as an excuse to visit Vicky, but she brings her cookies anyway, so she doesn't feel guilty. It's a convoluted lie that only Robin could come up with. Dustin continues his rampage of destruction in Episode 3 when he decides to modify Steve's beloved BMW. Steve comes out to find Dustin sitting on the roof of his luxury car with a power drill. Steve screams, "Get off the Beamer!" But Dustin ignores him and drills a hole right into the roof to mount the tracker. Steve watching his car get mutilated by a teenager with a drill is heartbreaking for him, but hilarious for us. We can't forget Erica Sinclair, who returns in Episode 3 with her signature sass. Mike and Lucas try to recruit her to help save Derek, and she gives them exactly 60 seconds to explain. When they tell her Derek is in trouble, she asks why she should care about dipshit Derek. She refuses to help until Mike admits it's about saving Holly, and she turns around and says, "Well, why the hell didn't you just start with that?" Her pragmatism is unmatched, but the funniest Erica moment is the dinner scene at the Turnbows. She brings a pie and drugs the entire family. When Tina refuses to eat the pie, Erica just drops the act, pulls out a syringe and says, "I told you to eat your damn pie," before jabbing her in the neck. It's brutal, efficient, and darkly hilarious because Erica has absolutely zero patience for anyone's nonsense. If we missed any other hilarious moments, drop them in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.